Hello! Long time no talk. Things have been a little bit hectic in my personal life. I have been going through it, as the kids say. But yeah, we're here today. So anyway, the last vlog stuff that I recorded was our last trip to the thrift store and to Half Price Books. And I basically have had this giant tote bag full of all the books that I got that I just have not unpacked yet because I wanted to record my little haul, but then I didn't want to forget what books I got, so I just left them all in the bag. And I need to sit down and go through it today because my kittens keep knocking it over. This was probably the one I'm most excited about, but it is the Del Toro Quest Shadowlands. If you guys don't know, I'm a huge fan of this series. I read these books as a kid and absolutely fell in love with it. I actually have the 20th anniversary bind up of the first series, and I really want to get the second and the third one when it comes out. I really hope they do a little 20th anniversary bind up of it because that was my favorite one. Honestly, I didn't even read the other ones. Like, I fell in love with the dragons and that was it. I just read them back to back to back to back until they fell apart. Considering my long history with this book series, I was so pleasantly surprised to find this one. So this is the Shadowlands, which is, I believe it's either the prequel or it takes place like directly after. Yeah, I think that's when it takes place. So this is completely new to me, so I'm gonna have to give that a read as soon as I can. Typically, I only buy books that I really love. I'm a big fan of supporting the local library. I get my full mileage use of my Libby account. I only really buy physical copies of books that I absolutely love, and this was one of them. Incarceron by Catherine Fisher. I read this in high school, and it was like totally mind-bending. I absolutely loved it. What a crazy twist also. A couple years ago, one of my friends brought this up in conversation. She was like, oh, well, I liked the first one more than the second one. And I was like, there's a second one? I read this book like when it first came out. So that's probably why I haven't heard of the second one. I want to know if my opinion of it will change now that I'm an adult, because the last time I even looked at that book was like 10 years ago. I know I've talked about The Hunger Games a ton, at least on Twitch. I'm always talking about the books I'm reading on Twitch, so if you guys want to catch me live, that's where I'll be either crafting or playing music. For The Hunger Games and Mockingjay, I actually found Mockingjay at a thrift store. I'm so happy that I found a hardback version of these. I don't have Catching Fire yet. I'm gonna try to find that at a thrift store as well, but the versions I saw at the store while we were there were just like not in the best condition, so I wanted to wait a little bit before committing to it. This is one of my all-time favorite series. The first time I read The Hunger Games was a few years ago, and I loved them so much that like every few months I'm like retaking it out of the library and reading through it again. So I finally have some physical books for me to read from, so I don't have to keep using my Libby loan for it. And lastly, I got the entire Aragon series because I just love dragons. I love dragons. I love books that have dragons in them, and I have always wanted to read these books. Unfortunately for me, I went to a Catholic school and fantasy books of any kind were like strictly prohibited, so I wasn't allowed to read them. Like to the point where we would take field trips to the library, like to the public library, and the teacher would like approve books that we were trying to check out. And I tried borrowing Aragon one time. I also tried borrowing like some other dragon related books. Like I remember in middle school, I tried to borrow this VHS tape called like Petey the Dragon or something. I'll put a little picture of him if I can find it, but it was this super old dragon movie, like totally PG kid friendly, but I tried borrowing it one time and was absolutely shut down because nothing fantasy was allowed at all whatsoever. So last year I actually read Aragon for the first time ever. I think I would have enjoyed it so much more if I was reading it as a kid. You know, I'm not saying that these books are entirely kid-friendly, but I feel like I would have loved this book in middle school or even high school. I would have really enjoyed it, but I still read it and still had a good time with it. So I decided to just go all in and get all of them. So yeah, 8 books. Not bad. Every time I go to the bookstore, I end up spending way too much money, so I'm glad I showed a little bit of restraint this time. I just noticed that Harrison is the one who turned this book into half-priced books, so thank you, Harrison, for keeping your books in such good condition. I really appreciate that. I really, really love it when people take such good care of their books and then decide to donate them or trade them in, and then other people get to give them a second life. While we're on that topic, similarly, I bought Fahrenheit 451 secondhand for $8.50. Sorry, I don't think you should spend more than $5 on a paperback secondhand, but like, whatever, that's my opinion. Anyway, the amount of copies of this book that were just like absolutely destroyed. I'm talking like fully annotated, like you open it up and there's just like every single page is like, you can tell a student was like going through and taking notes for a paper or some shit. It took me a very, very long time to find a copy of this book that was actually in decent condition. Even though I had to pay almost $9 for it, I finally have it. I read this back in February and definitely didn't make me feel better about the state of the world or anything, but it was an important read and I'm glad I finally have a copy of it for myself. If you're gonna donate books to a thrift store, or if you're gonna turn books in to like a secondhand place, just like make sure they're readable, right? Like, I don't want to open up a book and see an entire college dissertation written in the margins. Like, I get it. I'm not shitting on people who annotate their books, like, for their own personal library, but don't donate that so someone can, like, buy it and then open it up and not even be able to read it. Like, whatever. That's all for now. I hope you all are staying safe. I hope you're staying well, mentally and physically. And I hope you're staying sane, because right now I feel like I'm going insane. And I know a lot of people are right there with me. And yet we persist anyway. Bye-bye.